All right, everyone, welcome back to another Game Vault News video. As always, I'm Captain Beefy. This is the Game Vault. We're going to do a quick little review of some of the highlights of the week in news this week. It's 4/13/2025. Let's cue up the music and we'll get right into it. All right, first off, we're going to talk about Naughty Dog releasing The Last of Us Complete Collector's Edition for the PS5. Now, there's one thing I'm going to talk about for this generation of games, or this generation of consoles, I should say. This has been the generation of remasters, remakes, re-releases, and just, there's a lot going on with that kind of stuff. And while I do appreciate a good remaster from time to time, or a good remake, let's talk about Dead Space, for instance. It was fantastic. Well done. For every Dead Space, there's an Until Dawn, which was completely unnecessary, or Horizon Zero Dawn, which I'd also believe was pretty much completely unnecessary. Now, in some cases, when they do these games and they release these upgrades or remasters or whatever you want to call them, and they're free for people who already own the game, cool. If they're a $10 upgrade, that's not too bad either. We've got one of those coming up real soon that I'm looking forward to playing, and that is, what is it? The zombie game, Days Gone. Well, looking forward to trying that one out. I got the original a long time ago. I never fully got into it. They're re-releasing the game here in just a few weeks with a major upgrade, some new features to it and all that. And I want to try that game again, give it another shot. I know Dying Light, the original game, is getting a glow up. And this is a game that's, I think, over 10 years old. And it's getting a remaster for the next generation. That is going to be well worth it and all that. Last of Us Complete Collector's Edition, I mean, it's not a remaster or anything like that at this time. This has caused a lot of strife on the internet. A lot of people are pissed off about this. And a lot of people are pissed off that people are pissed off about it. Me, I'm like, it seems like everybody's got The Last of Us if they want it. Now, I granted, there's always new gamers coming up on the scene every day. There's kids that are growing up and, that are maturing into wanting to play games like this, that are, no longer wanting to play little kids games and all that. I get it. Kids that didn't grow up with this game or didn't have this game when they were younger. And that's fantastic. Putting it all into a complete edition is great. But these games have been out there for quite some time now. And the price tag for this collector's edition is over $100, $109, or $110, I should say, $109.99. It's coming out in July, and you can order it from PlayStation.com direct. That's expensive. Now, what do you get for it? So you do get a steelbook case with physical discs, which is kind of nice. A lot of these things that are coming out, sometimes you're just going to get download codes, but this one at least is going to give you physical discs, which kudos to them. That's great. A guy like me that prefers digital copies, I wouldn't want it anyway. I mean, I've already got the original Last of Us. I don't even know if I have part 2. I didn't really want part 2. I may have picked it up on like a huge sale at some point or sometime. I don't remember, to be honest, but I've got no interest in playing part 2. It also includes the Left Behind prequel chapter, The Last of Us American Dreams comics 1-4 with new cover art, 4 lithograph art prints, and a thank you letter from Neil Druckmann. And it gives you a little game overview here and, so forth and so on. So what do you guys think about this? I mean, $110 is pretty steep. You could get The Last of Us, and again, this is The Last of Us Part 1 and Part 2. This isn't the original Last of Us or The Last of Us Remastered. The original game came out for PlayStation 3. When PlayStation 4 came out, it was remastered. And then they came up with The Last of Us Part 1 after The Last of Us Part 2 came out, which was another remaster of the remaster or a redo of the remaster. I don't know how you want to call it, whatever, but they kind of modernized the game a little bit. They brought it more in line with Part 2 as far as combat and stuff goes, from my understanding. I played the remaster version, the PlayStation 4 version. I never played that updated version. I haven't got into that yet. I haven't tried it. I don't even think I bought that one. So, yeah, it's kind of expensive. And I feel like there's too much of this going on right now. And I feel like it's keeping I feel like this is part of the reason we're seeing such little growth in the industry right now. So few new great games coming out that we're dealing with so many of these remasters and remakes and all that. What else did we just see recently? We saw Silent Hill 2, from Bloober Team. Now, again, that was widely regarded as a success and a very fantastic remake and all that. And great, and that's an older game. So, I can see older games doing it. I can see games from 2 generations ago doing it. Last gen games, not so much. I'm waiting for Tomb Raider 2013 to get remastered. Granted, it's 12 years old, right? You're like, wow, that's a long time ago. I played through that game recently, and let me tell you, it looks pretty damn good. We've reached a point in time in video games where they're not going to look that much better. I mean, there is room for improvement on these older games, especially when it comes to mocap and stuff like that, and the physical movement of characters, things like of that nature. But overall, the games look pretty damn good from 10, 12 years ago. Way different than if you looked at 1995 to 2005 or 2007, That's a huge leap in technology compared to 10, 12 years ago. So, yeah. So that's that, man. Let me know what you guys think about The Last of Us Complete Collector's Edition. Do you think Druckmann and company should have been doing something else in this time? And a lot of people speculated that this complete edition is leading up to a Last of Us Part 3. Now, this is coming out, I guess, roughly, on the wave of the TV series. Part 2 is coming out, or Season 2 is coming out, and I guess they're talking about a Season 3. There's a lot of speculation that there is going to be a Last of Us Part 3 video game, even though Druckmann's denied that they're going to be working on that. I'll be curious to see if that's something that's coming out. I don't know. We'll see. Meanwhile, their other game, that Heretic, whatever, goofy looking game, not interested in that one, but we'll keep an eye on that one when it comes out and see how it does. But moving on, let's talk about this game, Schedule 1. So there's been rumors of a lawsuit from, I guess, Drug Dealer Simulator suing Schedule 1 because of similarities within the game. And apparently that's a falsehood there. That's been spread on the internet. Go figure, right? That's an amazing thing. We've never heard of anything like that before. If you haven't heard of Schedule 1, I don't know where you've been. The game right now, Sunday afternoon, has about 300,000 players on Steam, right? In the last 24 hours, it's had 352,000 players. All-time peak was a week ago at almost 500,000 players, 459,000 players. It's pretty insane. And it's like this goofy drug dealing simulator where you're selling drugs, and it's quite funny. The graphically it's not it's not uber realistic or anything like that. It's kind of like this cutesy goofy simulator game, and there's a million types of games out there like that. Everything from running theme parks to dinosaur theme parks to whatever, being a police officer. It's only a matter of time till something like this comes out. And apparently everyone's playing this game. It's not out for console yet. Will it ever come for console? Maybe. Maybe not. Who knows? But negative Steam reviews are piling up for Drug Dealer Simulator for their publisher Movie Games SA because people believe that they are suing the makers of Schedule 1. Or what is it? Yeah, they believe, Schedule 1. They think they're suing them, but they're not. There's some kind of, I guess, investigation going on for similarities and all that. But anyway, the story here says it's been a rough couple days for Movie Games SA. The company confirmed yesterday that is conducting... Oh, that's the company doing the investigation, Movie Games SA. The company confirmed yesterday that it is conducting an investigation of Schedule 1 over potential infringement of its drug dealer simulator IP, including elements of the game's plot, mechanics, as well as the UI. It also said that no legal action against Schedule 1 has been taken, which was confirmed by Schedule 1 creator Tyler of TVGS, and that was undertaking the investigation as part of its legal obligations. Now, I guess Schedule 1 was created by one guy, which is kind of cool. Talk about a success story, man. You've got AAA teams out there working for 10 years with hundreds of people on their projects, looking at you, Ubisoft, that are coming up with a fraction of the players here on Steam that this guy has working on his own on a goofy little game like this. So congratulations to you, Tyler. God bless you, man. We need more people like you in this industry, more innovators and all that. Hopefully Hopefully this leads to something bigger and better where you get a little bit of funding and maybe a little team around you, and you can actually make something even better next time around. But let's look at some of these. Look at some of these comments on Steam here. Nice cop out. Now you get to watch your reputation crumble. Preliminary investigation is a bunch of horse dookie. Your publisher was salty. One guy made a better game and tried to attack him because he's the little guy. There is and never was any infringement. Morons. Get off the stage. Boo. I hope it was worth the thousands of negative reviews. There's a typo on bullet point 1. It should say 1. There's no legal action. Yet, you guys need to back off immediately. And so on and so forth. LOL. There would be no Souls-like games if someone wanted to sue for making Souls-like games, to name one example. So yeah, these guys are coming down hard on Movie Games SA, and I don't know. What do you guys think of this whole thing? I feel, it is what it is, right? There's no lawsuit, right? And I guess things got blown out of proportion. I'm sure this happens quite a bit with games where people are like, well, wait a minute, this is kind of like what we do. Maybe you only hear about it a little bit and you really haven't had a chance to look into something, right? If I heard about something if I invented something or I created something, I created an IP, I wrote a book, made a movie, created a video game, whatever. And then I found out, a couple years later that something came out that's remarkably similar. Maybe a friend told me about it or someone else. Hey, so-and-so there, Captain Beefy, they came up with this thing and it's a lot like what you did. I'd want to look into it a little bit and say, well, wait a minute. Are they copying what I did? And do I have a copyright infringement thing here? There would definitely be some sort of investigation. A lawsuit? Not necessarily, but it would have to be looked into. And maybe that's all that happened here. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments, what you think about this. In the meantime, holy crap, man, making that money hand over fist for this guy. Congratulations to him. That is impressive. What's not impressive, though, is Ubisoft. And so we've talked about Ubisoft a lot over the last few years. And recently, a few years back, maybe 2 years, maybe not so much, Ubisoft said that we don't own our video games. And this is dirty. So, and they're holding firm and doubling down on that. Ubisoft holds firm in the Crew lawsuit. You don't own your video games. So plaintiffs are suing Ubisoft about the Crew being shut down and being unable to access the game at all. No single player content, nothing. And this is bad. This is bad for gaming as a whole. And I think this is something that really, really needs to be looked into and investigated and hopefully changed in the industry, right? So whenever we buy a new video game, we always have terms of service that we have to read and accept. And if you're like me, and you're like 99.9% of the rest of gamers, that little screen comes up and you scroll to the bottom and you click I accept. You can check that box and then you hit submit without reading the terms of service, because it's a lot of reading to do. And those terms of service have all kinds of information in there. And I guess in the case of this, in the Crew, it was stating that you are not purchasing the game. You're purchasing a license to access the game, to play the game for a limited amount of time that could end at some point in time. And who knows if that's in every Ubisoft game. And who knows what other companies are doing that, right? Is that in other video game license agreements? Is that in all of them these days? Even if you're buying a physical disc, a copy, imagine if that was a movie, right? Imagine you bought a movie, you bought, the latest James Bond movie, and you came home and you watched it, and 5 years later you go to watch it, and it says it doesn't play anymore because, your license ran out on it. You go, wait a minute, I bought the movie, I bought the Blu-ray. I want to watch it. And you look into it and you go, oh no, I didn't buy the Blu-ray. I bought a license to go online and stream this movie and watch it. And now that license ran out. I can no longer watch that movie. It's very, very, very misleading. And I guess that's part of this lawsuit. It's very, very dirty. Ubisoft has been hammered lately. The last couple of years have been very, very unkind to it. But they responded to California Gamers The Crew shutdown lawsuit in late February, filing to dismiss the case. The company's lawyers argued that in the filing reviewed by Polygon, there was no reason for players to believe they were purchasing unfettered ownership rights in the game. Ubisoft has made it clear, lawyers claimed, that when you buy a copy of The Crew, you're merely buying a limited access license. Frustrated with Ubisoft's recent decision to retire the game following a notice period delineated on the product's packaging, plaintiffs apply a kitchen sink approach on behalf of a putative class of nationwide customers, alleging 8 causes of action, including violations of California's false advertising laws, unfair competition law, and Consumer Legal Remedies Act, as well as common law fraud and breach of warranty claims, Ubisoft's lawyers wrote. Lawyers are filthy, man, so you can put all kinds of little clauses in these games. I've seen clauses about like, you can be shut down the game. You can be kicked out of a game if you use bad language in the chat or something like that, or, derogatory language. I believe it was part of the terms of service of Disney Plus. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I've heard about this, that if you subscribed to Disney Plus and you accepted the terms of service when you applied and subscribed to it, that part of the terms of service there was saying that you would not sue the Disney company if something bad happened to you on one of their properties. So if you had Disney Plus and you accepted it and you had it for the year, whatever, you had it for any period of time, and then you and your family went to Disney World and you slipped and fell and you broke a bone and you needed surgery, or something happened, a ride malfunctioned and something horrible happened and you needed, millions of dollars of therapy and reconstructive surgery and all that, you were unable to sue them because of that agreement that you had signed for. That's dirty. Stuff like that is so dirty, man. And that's just one of those dirty business practices that these big corporations, I can't stand stuff like that. I really can't. It's unfair. And ultimately, it is our fault as consumers for not reading that stuff, but nobody does. If we spent all the time in the world reading our terms of service, we'd never get around to playing the games. But maybe it's time that we really start looking at those things and understanding it a little bit better and pushing back against it. Or maybe something needs to change in the industry where terms of service can't have stuff like that in there, where they're kind of limited as far as what they can do. They can't falsely advertise things or mislead you. Maybe it's not false advertising so much as it is misleading. But if you buy a physical copy of something, you think it's yours, right? You don't buy a book and then, 5 years later you go to open your book to read it and all the words have disappeared. It should be the same thing with a video game on a disc, man. That's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Let's close things off with Ark here. Ark Survival Ascended, our favorite game here on the channel, the one we live stream several times a week. Well, we're getting our Excellent Adventure coming up this week. It looks like it's scheduled to come out Wednesday, April 16th. And it's going to run through until April 30th. So that's kind of nice. Now, if you do have your own private server, you'll be able to run this as long as you want. I'll be running it on one of my servers for a long period of time. I've got Christmas or Winter Wonderland running on one right now, Fear Evolved on another, Summer Bash. I keep them running on different servers in my cluster, and I kind of move them around and all that, just because I think it's kind of cool. You get all these different colors you can get and skins and all that, just depending on where you want to go, which is kind of nice. The events are going to give you 2 times harvesting, taming, experience. Small tribes could be 4.5 harvesting, taming, experience, 4 times breeding. Arcpocalypse 5 times everything. The weekend, yada yada. Event creatures is going to be a bunny dodo and a bunny oviraptor, if you don't remember those things from before. And some chibis that we're going to have are going to be the bunny, the Easter chick, the Jur bunny, which is a gerbo, bunny ears, and a spring shinehorn. Event items, the bunny eggs and the festive dino candy, and then there's a new flower wreath. I'm not sure what that's going to be and where that's going to drop from. But got tons of skins. Some new ones this year around are going to be Shepherd's Crook Spear skin. Kind of neat. Egg Grenade skin. I kind of like the idea of that. The Lamb costume skin. That's going to be obnoxious. The Spring Tiara. Round sunglasses. Dino round sunglasses. The Flower Feeding Trough. I love these skins for items. Or for stuff around the base. I think those are cool. And the Flower vase skin, which is for small decor boxes, which is awesome. Plus a lot of older ones like the bunny and all that stuff like that. We got a new emote, the flower toss emote, and then they got the old bunny hop dance tail. And then all the wild dino colors that are always there and all that's really, really neat. So that's kind of cool. Club Arc is going to have 20 golden eggs hidden around Club Arc. For each egg, take a screenshot of your character standing next to it, showing the egg number. Use photo mode for some of the trickier ones. Once you found them all, submit your 20 screenshots as proof in a private thread in the dedicated channels on the official Arc Discord. And what are you gonna? The first survivor to successfully find and submit proof of all 20 eggs will receive a copy of Arc, the animated series cosmetic pack. Yay! Featuring over 75 exclusive skins. Yeah, including yada yada, valued at $15, and a copy of Bob's Tall Tales. Well, that's not bad if you haven't bought those already. If you have, then whatever. Maybe you can give them to somebody else, you know. Thread must be private and stay private. Players can't collaborate. Wow. So, that's good news. Bad news now. There's always bad news with Arc, man. Always bad news. No more delays or anything like that. But apparently, there was a patch that went out a few days ago. And it was intended as a fix for cryo fridges. Not updating their power state until they were opened, and it messed things up. And it apparently killed, if I'm not mistaken, a whole lot of creatures inside of cryo fridges. If you're not aware of how how cryopods work in cryo fridges, is they're little pods that you put your creatures in, kind of like Pokeballs, you know, Pal Balls, Pal Spheres, whatever you want to call them. We don't use them on our server. We use a modded item. But they require power to stay powered up. And they last for 30 days outside of a cryo fridge. You can double their time by putting them inside a regular fridge to 60 days. And if you put them in a cryo fridge, they slowly recharge and will last indefinitely while they're in a cryo fridge. Now, if the cryo fridge loses power, the cryo fridge needs to be powered up, they will start to lose power, just as if they're sitting in your own inventory or in a box or something like that. When a cryopod loses power completely, the creature inside of it is lost forever. Doesn't matter how good your creature was, or your favorite Giga or whatever, it's dead, it's gone, and it's unrecoverable. I don't even think you can get a soul back for it like you can if it died in battle. You know, it's just gone. So it's a horrible way to lose a creature. We've all done it. Accidentally put a creature in a box or forgot about it, forgot to, had a little mini base or something like that somewhere and left some creatures there in a cryo fridge or a box. Never checked on them, came back over a month later and, oh no, that's where they were and they're all dead. So it's happened. But anyway, yeah, so a whole lot of people are pissed. They lost a lot of creatures. And Wildcard debated on rolling things back and all that, but in the end, they figured a rollback would impact even more players, upsetting even more people, so they decided not to. To support the affected players, they're running 3 times rate this weekend, including breeding, and also plan to continue 3 times rates, including breeding every weekend during the Excellent Adventures with the planned regular event, 2 times rates, including breeding through the weekdays while the event is active. So that's going to help speed things along as far as recovering these creatures. I mean, it's not going to bring them back, but you know, if you lost your breeders, man, you lost your breeders. You're going to have to go out and catch new ones and make new ones. 3 times breeding helps. You know, 2 times during the week, it's going to help. But yeah, it's not going to make up for all that work that you did. You lost a lot of time, especially on official servers and all that. That's just brutal. I don't know what to tell you, man. Anyway, and Estrella's transfers, official transfers are now open. So that's that. That's good to hear. And that's pretty much it for Ark Survival Ascended this weekend. We are now officially 2 days away from the window of, 5.5 coming out there. The Unreal Engine 5.5, that magical thing that's going to fix all of Ark. We know it's not going to fix everything, but yeah, that's that update that's supposed to come out. And the thing is, we're not even going to see really the benefits of that update until Ragnarok comes out in the beginning of June, from my understanding, because that is the first map that's going to use it. I don't think we're going to see Unreal Engine applied retroactively to old maps until later. So I don't know why they're telling us that it's going to be out between April and May 15th. You know, it's supposed to come out in conjunction with Ragnarok. So it's kind of weird. It's got me weirded out on that regard. I'm like, well, so what if it's ready? If there's nothing to use it on, then who cares? You know what I mean? Who cares? What's the big deal? So we got to see what happens with that. But, as long as they tell us it's ready, then we know Ragnarok should be ready for the beginning of June. Knock on wood. But yeah, that's going to be it for today. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Don't forget to leave a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel. And ring that bell for notifications. As always, Cat the Beefy with the Game Vault. I will see you next week for a little bit more news. Until then, peace.